The fact that they were able to make the simple concept of throw bird at pig into two surprisingly charming kids movies is pretty impressive.
I'm flying! Nope, still can't fly.
And with a third film in the works, it's time to rank all of the characters from the Angry Birds movies 1 and 2 from good to evil. Like usual, we'll start with the avians who use their anger for altruism. These characters are the good. But sharing the gold medal of good are some residents from both of the series' main islands, the hatchlings and baby pigs. The obvious reason for these little guys being so high up is the fact that they're just kids, but on its own, that'd usually be just enough for them to be near the top of our list rather than the top spot itself. But as pure and adorable as these little guys are, it's their role in the second movie that earns them the gold. When Terrence and Matilda's hatchlings, Zoe, Vivi, and Sam, accidentally lose their little unhatched sisters at sea, they go on a life-threatening adventure to retrieve them, fighting snakes, sea, and nature itself. Ultimately, they end up accidentally retrieving some snake eggs and being stranded on Piggy Island.
Well, that got dark.
Until some baby pigs use their airship to help the trio get back home, coincidentally stopping Zeta's plan and saving both islands on the way. For a few birds who can't even fly, they already have a seriously great heroic resume, and they might have even cemented the friendship between birds and pigs. They're good kids, even if Zoe could stand to clean up her language a little bit. The Silver Medal of Good, in an incredibly satisfying turn of events, goes to Silver. As the brilliant younger sister of Chuck, Silver is the one hero of the sequel's main group who's fully qualified for the job. On top of being the inventor of the super string, patent pending, she has no problem joining the other birds in their quest to save Bird Island and Piggy Island. Despite being a genius, she's also compassionate and respectful of others, even Red, who she sticks with as a good friend even though they got off on the wrong foot.
Have fun being alone.
Oh, I will.
In the end, she was even willing to let Red take all the credit for the team's work, showing that she helps other people for the sake of helping them. Rounding out the podium, next is the Hug Trader. The phrase, "where my hug at," carries all kinds of bad connotations with it, but the Hug Trader is thankfully not one of them. Sure, it's a little weird to constantly be offering hugs to complete strangers, but it's not wrong, right? Either way, he always takes no for an answer, even if he's unhappy about it. The man's just trying to get some hugs and run a legitimate business. You can't fault him for that, unless you're Red, I guess. Before we get into the flawed characters, let's talk about one more beacon of pure positivity, Billy. Some might say that Billy isn't a real character in the movies. Some are not welcome here. Chuck's brainchild here is one of the greatest artistic feats of a generation. All he ever wanted to do was spread positivity and laughter. Even if he could sometimes come off as insensitive with his constant laughter, it's always with the purest of intentions in mind. Too bad he died by complete and total accident. Without further ado, it's time to talk about the first of the main trio, Bomb. Look, I get it, not everybody loves surprises, and some people are surprised more easily than others. That's usually not a problem. What is a problem, however, is literally exploding whenever you feel strong emotion. But despite constant destruction of property, including his own, Bomb is actually a genuinely nice dude. He's the kind of guy who will take the order to take out a security guard as literally taking the whole group out for drinks.
Time to take out those guards.
Copy that.
While he isn't the smartest guy around, clearly, his heart is big, and despite his power, he's surprisingly hard to get on the bad side of. This dude was literally just born dangerous, but he's the definition of a gentle giant. The worst we could say about him is that he can be a bit reckless and gross at times, but maybe that's just my dislike of gross out humor talking. Who knows? You be the judge of that. And Judge Peckinpah will also be the judge of some stuff in this world. He's technically one of the antagonists of the first movie, being the one who oversees the court case between Red and a family whose hatchling accidentally imprinted on him. Despite his role against Red, though, it's worth remembering that Red was kind of a short-tempered jerk at the start of the movie, even if the customers weren't exactly the most pleasant people either. As a result, we can't call Peckinpah a bad guy for upholding the law and caring for his people. We can, however, call him out for the fact that he basically roasts Red in front of the entire courtroom.
Did you notice that nobody tried to stop you?
Like, imagine placing a man with severe anger issues on trial and being like, "Yo, you know nobody likes you, right?" It's like he wanted the guy to have an outburst, but I guess he didn't because he commissioned Matilda to help prevent such a tragedy. Matilda is an anger management counselor who works with a lot of troublemaking birds in the community. That's a really good line of work to be in from an altruistic standpoint, especially considering how horrific some of the crimes her clients committed were.
Terrence seems to have had an incident.
The worst we could say about her is that she can be a bit egotistical, and while her frustration with clients like Red is understandable, the last person who should be struggling to keep it together is your anger management counselor. Also, are we gonna talk about the fact that she married one of her clients? Anyone else find that kind of weird? All right, we've talked about a lot of good characters, so real quick, let's talk about Chuck, okay? Sound good? Great. So Chuck is a pretty nice guy, but he's also a bit of a mischievous one. He's the type of guy who will get a speeding ticket and respond by stealing the responding officer's wallet and messing up his office. You know what I'm I'm saying? He's super protective of himself and his sister, which means he can be aggressive, but it's okay because he's also really thoughtful and caring, like when he reached out to Red and invited him to hang out before he was done with his mean anger arc. Overall, Chuck is pretty cool, even if like Bomby's pretty chaotic and unlike Bomby's crimes are committed intentionally. Sorry, I just realized I had my voice set to 2 times speed. What was that? How does that even happen? Anyway, up next is the main man himself, Red. Right off the bat, we're gonna give the titular Angry Bird TM himself the Wrath Sinner medal. It's not because he's some vengeful demon or anything, but rather because he's just really mad and really easy to make mad. This is mainly due to the prophetic observations of Judge Peckinpah that most of the people around Red have disliked him ever since childhood, but even when some of them tried to be nice, he'd often respond with sarcasm and insults.
Hey Red, how are you?
Oh, I'm horrible.
But to Red's credit, he does ultimately come around and, despite being less than popular among the townspeople, is the one to rally them together and save their eggs from Piggy Island, using his anger for good. This doesn't result in him becoming a saint automatically, since he does struggle with the concept that he can't do everything on his own, and in the second movie dislikes the idea of a truce because it means he won't be seen as a hero 24/7. But when he finally accepts the fact that he needs his friends as much as they need him, it only leads to the people loving him even more, leading to a genuinely wholesome redemption arc for this grumpy guy. And there's one last character to round out the good category, the Mime. Oh my god. Did you really think we forgot him? How could we forget this absolute legend? Like, I remember the time okay, he didn't really do anything, but he's still a pretty chill guy, even helping save the eggs in the first movie and being one of the many birds who actually were nice to Red before he saved all of their butts. Okay, so, like, are we gonna talk about the fact that he got absolutely coated in molten lava in the second movie? Because unless I missed something, I don't think he appeared after that. Did they just kill him? I mean, that's a lethal thing to have happen. Is he gonna be a ghost in the third movie? Like, this is a kid's movie. I'm not used to such a casual on-screen death. Well, hopefully the Mime is alright, but for now, the lowest he falls is right above our more questionable characters. These characters make up the gray area. First up, we have Debbie. Debbie is the daughter of Mighty Eagle and Zeta. Despite technically being the second in command of the sequel's main villain, she doesn't really do anything bad. In fact, I'm not entirely sure Debbie even fully understands what's going on. All we see of her is her being supportive of her mom and being excited for her to live in a tropical paradise, and also having no problem with her forcing countless people away from their homes to do so. Her neutrality to her mother's plan loses her some points, but she definitely doesn't seem like a malicious villain, just
We can't do that, Zeta.
Wait.
You're torturing the engineer.
A kid who's grown up on the wrong side so far. And the great powerful hero we can thank for that is none other than the Mighty Eagle. This superhero slash serial mascot is the most highly regarded hero on Bird Island, or at least he was before Red dethroned him to an extent. But as it often goes with fictional or real celebrities, Mighty Eagle isn't as impressive as that merchandise makes him look. He gets the Pride Center medal quite easily for his willingness to accept all the praise and glory people give him, despite doing none, or at least very little, of the work to earn it. He can be cowardly, hesitant to do the right thing on many occasions, even including the ghosting of his fiancée for like 20 years.
Woo! Dodge that bullet.
But what saves him from falling lower is the fact that he does generally do the right thing in the end. Whether it's risking his life to help save the eggs at the end of the first movie, or showing up just in time to help stop Zeta in the sequel, even going as far as to cover Debbie during the explosion, ensuring she won't be harmed even if he loses his life. He may be a coward, but Mighty Eagle is willing to turn around and do better, so we're gonna be nice and give him a relatively decent spot on our list. Hailing from the first movie, Ross is up next. He was Leonard's right-hand man. No, he didn't die or anything, he just got effectively replaced by Courtney. The most you could say about Ross, good or bad, is that he's kinda dense. He doesn't seem to fully comprehend Leonard's plans at any given moment, which means he doesn't hold nearly as much responsibility for them as he does. On the same token, though, he isn't entirely innocent, since he is an accessory to all of Leonard's crimes, ignorant though he may be. Really, Ross isn't good nor bad, he's just Ross, and we're happy for that. Another one of Leonard's most trusted allies, Gary, is next. He's a brilliant scientist who invents various gadgets for the birds/pigs team up. These inventions vary in how useful they are, from permanent relationship destroying invisible spray to a little alarm that tells you when there's an eagle nearby, there's an eagle nearby, there's an eagle nearby. We're not gonna act like Gary's a saint because of him just doing his job, but he was definitely helpful, albeit in a very roundabout way and not without his arrogance. Next up is not Ross, but Courtney, King Leonard's iconic sidekick. Really, there's not much to say about Courtney other than she's basically just Ross, but voiced by Aquafina and having more than 2 brain cells. She's best known for taking pictures of anything funny that might happen during their adventure, and I don't really remember her doing anything notable on her own, man. If nothing else, she does look out for Leonard, so she's a good assistant/friend. Nearing the end of the gray area is Terrence, possibly the angriest of the Angry Birds. He's a man of few words, but a man of many crimes, as shown by his introduction, where Matilda's horror combined with his seemingly proud reminiscence on his misdeeds reveals that Terrence has almost definitely killed someone. Whether he has or not, though, he's certainly a short-tempered guy and resorts to violence quickly. This won't stop him from occasionally helping out when he's needed, though, and he does have a soft spot, as shown by his feelings for and eventual marriage to Matilda. We'll give him the Lost Sinner medal for his admittedly odd way of courting her, but still, it's kind of sweet. even if he could definitely stand to watch over his kids more closely, dude really almost lost all 6 of his kids in one day and didn't even notice.
Parents? Where are the kids?
And finally, while this may be controversial, we're placing Leonard at the very end of our gray area. We acknowledge the potential controversy here because Leonard has some serious bad deeds under his belt. In the first movie, he's guilty of manipulating the Bird Island residents into trusting the pigs just so they can steal their eggs as exotic food. That's a low-down villain motive worthy of the Gluttony Center Medal if you ask me. And it gets worse when you realize that Leonard is basically engaging in attempted mass infanticide.
You will eat the eggs for lunch.
What saves him from a lower spot is his role in the sequel. By this point, the feud between birds and pigs has de-escalated to a prank war, and when Zeta starts attacking both Piggy Island and Bird Island, Leonard offers a truce so the two peoples can work together to save their homes. That doesn't exactly make him a cut and dry good guy, since, again, he was fully willing to rob these people of their unborn children because they might have made a good feast. But the fact that Leonard was ready to ally with his worst enemy to protect his people says a lot about his character. And judging by them showing up to Mighty Eagle and Zeta's wedding, we might be able to conclude that the friendship between birds and pigs is real this time. At least I hope it is. Don't break my heart in the threequel, Leonard. Speaking of 3, we've got 3 more entries to discuss, and they've all fit comfortably into the bad to evil category. I'll admit, right off the bat, this series doesn't have any pure evil characters, as indicated by the security guards taking home the Bronze Medal of Evil. They also take home the Darwin Sinner Medal for them being fooled by crayon-scribbled sticky notes placed over security cameras. But as for the Bronze Medal, these guys aren't too bad. They're just doing their job at the end of the day after all, but their job just happens to be aligned with Zeta's plan to drive all of Bird and Piggy Island's residents away from their homes, and while it's unclear how much they understand about what Zeta is really doing, they are fully helping her without reservations. But at least they seem to treat each other nicely for the most part. That's good. The Silver Medal of Evil goes to Zeta's head scientist, Glenn. At first, we're going to be more sympathetic towards poor Glenn. He does have a lot of threats hanging over his head after all. The knowledge that Zeta could torture him or freeze him to death at any moment is pretty terrifying, and it's understandable that he'd want to obey her commands. What's more, he shows some reservations to go along with her plans to throw magma-filled ice balls at the islands, except those reservations are less, "Wait, Zeta, that'll kill countless people," and more, "Wait, Zeta, that'd be really hard to pull off actually."
It's quite the undertaking. Okay.
Glenn fully knows what he's doing, and at some points he even offers his own special touch to her plans, like getting rid of some houses in the way of her view of paradise. He isn't pure evil, but he was willing to assist in potential mass murder a little too quickly, which cements him as one of the less morally decent people around. But the Gold Medal of Evil can go to none other than Zeta. But first, this video is brought to you by Wicked Binge channel memberships. You can gain access to our videos early before anyone else, plus gain access to members-only emojis and loyalty badges by supporting the channel through a membership. Oh boy, where do we even begin with this girl? Zeta's whole plan is basically to use lava-filled balls of ice to drive the residents of Bird Island and Piggy Island, respectively, out of their homes. In doing so, she not only causes wide-scale destruction of property, but places countless people in danger and kills at least one. Rip Mime. This is all pretty bad already, but what makes it worse is her reason. She wants to turn these islands into her own personal paradise. It's not like she could just, I don't know, move to one of the islands or maybe use the magma to help thaw out her own frozen island. But even without logic, because I can't find any around here, this is a messed up plan, given how willing Zeta was to either kill 2 entire island civilizations or steal their homes for herself.
All I gotta do is clear out all these inhabitants.
In her defense, she does ultimately feel bad when she realizes she could have killed her own daughter, and takes it as a wake-up call when Mighty Eagle risks his life to protect her. It was a happy ending for just about everybody, but this woman was still fully willing to go commit 2 genocides just to build her own personal theme park. I don't care how cold it gets, girl, that's never cool. And unlike paradise, this gold medal is something you deserve.